Hello and welcome back to another video, and today, as you'll have seen by the title and thumbnail, we're here checking out the newly added MotoE class in MotoGP 23. So of course Milestone did release a patch finally today adding the MotoE class. So the game is finally complete. It's taken almost 2 months now actually, but we have finally got the MotoE class. Now in the past usually I go into the game files beforehand and re-enable MotoE and go and check that out, but because the bike has actually changed this year and it is now a Ducati, it's a completely different bike, I didn't want to go and check out the game mode before they added it. I wanted to actually try it out with this new Ducati once it was all fully implemented. So without any further ado, we may as well get into it. Just going to do a quick race here today. As you see, I've got my Moto3 rider selected by default for when I do my testing. So I've seen a few races of MotoE this season, but I haven't seen all of them, so I'm not 100% sure of every single rider that's in the category, but I do know who they all are. I just can't remember off the top of my head who's actually in it this season. So we'll go through the list of riders pretty quickly. So we've got Ferrari, of course. I believe he was the first champion of it in 2019. Then we've got Finello. We've got Casadei, who's been in it before as well. Nicholas Spinelli, I believe he's in World Supersport as well at the moment. We've got Mikel Pons. Obviously, we've got Eric Granado, who's in World Superbikes currently. Hikaru Kubo, I believe he was previously in Supersport as well. Alessandro Zacconi, again, another rider that's been in the category for quite a while. Hector Garzo, of course, he was in this category before, then went across to Moto2, then came back to MotoE once again. So Garzo back here in MotoE. Randy Krummenacher, his teammate, previously in Moto2 in the past. I think he might have been Moto3 back in the day. World Supersport champion. So, to be fair, it's a pretty stacked grid this season. We've got Kevin Zanoni, Kevin Manfredi, Jordi Torres, again, a previous champion of the class. Maria Herrera, Mika Perez, Andrea Mantovani, who I believe won a race at Mugello earlier on this season. Lucas Savadori, and of course Tito Rabat, the two-time Moto2 World Champion, previous MotoGP rider, current World Superbikes, British Superbikes, Spanish Superbikes. He's just doing absolutely everything this season is Tito, so he's in this class as well this season. And to be honest, I think we actually might play as Tito because that Pramac bike actually looks really, really lovely. That is a nice livery. And of course, Pramac Ducati. Pramac and Ducati have been together for absolutely years. But if we have a bit of a closer look at the bike, I really, really do like it. It's actually not as dissimilar to the Energica as I first thought when I first saw pictures of it before, like when it was being tested. You can see the front end is somewhat similar a little bit. It's obviously quite an aerodynamic shape, but you can see the back end of the bike is completely different. It looks more like a regular motorbike. It doesn't look so much like an electric bike, which, you know, looking like an electric bike's not a bad thing, but it doesn't stand out as much. I really like the swing arm as well at the back, but there you go. That is the new Ducati MotoE bike. And in terms of circuit, we actually are restricted to the number of circuits that we can do. I know in the previous game, I'm pretty sure you could run whatever track you wanted with MotoE. So I think we might go with Silverstone, since it is, of course, the next race after the summer break. So without any further ado, let's get down to the grid and get into some MotoE action. So of course, it's completely silent before the start of the race. They just go as the lights go, although to be fair, it's pretty silent throughout. So here we are then, the lights are on, waiting for them to go out here for this British Grand Prix. They're holding for quite a while, the lights out, and away we go. We've not had the best start off the line. We go Rabat here in P18. We've got a teammate just in front of us, Salvadori. I'm trying to turn up the audio a little bit so I can actually hear my bike, because obviously hearing your bike is quite important. Although to be fair, we don't have to worry about the gears at all. So that is obviously a positive thing. And oh, the bike is definitely not happy. It's moving around quite a bit. It's such a heavy bike. Got off the circuit already, so we're literally done one corner and we've already run off the track. So not a great start for us here in our MotoE debut on the new Ducati bike. Obviously we've played it in the previous games, but we've not used the Ducati before. That was obviously the Energica before. What is it then? It's 1.1 seconds already to the rider ahead, but we're making some decent progress. They're all scattered all over the track. The bike doesn't turn in. Tell you what, this bike feels like, it doesn't feel great at all. It feels like MotoGP 21, to be honest, the way it's turning, which those of you who obviously have been subscribed for a long time will know I didn't particularly like the handling on that game, and we are being absolutely dropped here. I've got the AI on 120% just purely because of how they've been patched and nerfed, but to be fair, they could very well have been fixed in this update, and I'd have no idea, and they are just absolutely pulling away from me, and I tell you what, the soft tyre is just unusable. I reckon we're going to have to restart this race with a harder tyre in the back. So we're back here now, then we've got still a medium on the front, a hard on the rear, but we've turned the AI down to 100% because they were pulling away so much, and here we go once again. Of course, at least in this class, my reaction time doesn't factor into it at all. I can just hold the right trigger until it lets me go off the grid, because of course there's no actual clutch to let out on these MotoE bikes. And we've picked up a track limits warning already. I don't know how particularly we did that. That does seem a little bit unfair to me. But oh well, we've picked up a track limits warning, so basically both times it's gone horrendously. And again, the bike just doesn't want to stop or turn. I guess it just gets so heavy, but these things actually really do feel horrible in this game. It's trying to high side me off, even in the traction control. That's obviously the instant torque delivery right there. And the AI, once again, have pulled away from me massively. To be honest, I think a lot of our problem is the fact that we don't have any engine braking, really. I mean, I know there's an engine braking on the right-hand side, but there's not an actual engine, so we can't use the gearbox, really, to slow us down. And obviously there is probably built-in engine braking, sort of simulate how it would be on a real engine. But there's no gearbox for us to actually slow the rear of the bike down with, and I think that's potentially why we're struggling. But I'll tell you what, the AI, at least in this class, are rapid right now. So I don't know whether they finally fixed the AI in this patch. Obviously they broke them in the previous one, they made them way too slow, but so far they are absolutely pulling on me. But I tell you what, again, the tyre combination is just not working. We probably need like an extra hard in the rear, because it's just overheating so much. Even just the medium tyre, I reckon the hard tyre will still be really hot as well. So that wasn't really going very well at Silverstone, so I've decided to change things up a little bit. We've now got a lower AI difficulty because they seem absolutely overpowered in MotoE for some reason, down to 70% difficulty. And we've also now got hard tyres on the front and rear because all the other tyres were getting absolutely destroyed. So we've got a 3-lap race here at Assen. We're going to get straight into it. So watch this now, off the start. See how good of a start the AI get, because there's no input lag at all for them. They don't have to wait at all. The lights are on, wait for them to go out, and here we go, off the line. We're in the MotoE class, so there's no clutch at all. And you can see just how good of a start they get. We have to wait. Like you saw, there's a little delay before my bike actually goes off the line, which is absolutely ridiculous. So they got the advantage going into turn 1, but I'm hoping that we could try and make some sort of difference, because I've had to turn the AI difficulty down quite a lot. But you can see they're still absolutely gaining on me. They seem absolutely ridiculously OP in this one. You saw Finello there was on the inside on the grass, which is absolutely ridiculous. Out of Strubben we come up the straight. You can see they've got a massive lead on me, 0.8 of a second to the slowest AI in this class, and we've turned the difficulty down to 70. So I don't know whether they're just overpowered in MotoE or whether they've gone through and undone the change they did in the previous patch and made the AI a lot better. But even still, on 70%, they shouldn't be pulling away from me this much. And they've ran massively wide once again, so the AI are absolutely all over the place. We just need to find a little bit more time, and hopefully we can try and get involved in these battles, because it does look pretty chaotic in front of us, to be fair. These bikes are absolutely awful, though. They're so slow, so heavy. They just don't stop whatsoever. And the tyres just overheat. See, the front brake is cold, which is absolutely unbelievable, by the way. The amount of brake I've been putting on to try and get this thing to stop is ridiculous. Finello seems to be dropping off the back of the group in front. Actually, we're closing up a lot to him, so we might actually be able to have an attack maybe into the timber chicane. He seems to make a big mistake, and through the ram's hook, he is going slowly. Can we try and get him down towards the chicane? Up the inside we go. Oh, we don't get that one stopped. Neither some of the AIs. Cody's gone through the gravel. We've cut the chicane. What are they doing on the grass over there? Somehow we didn't get a penalty, by the way, for that one. And they're on the grass on the straight as well. What are they doing there? Kevin Zanoni was on the straight. A couple of the riders as well. And all of a sudden, we're over to P13. Yes, I did take a bit of a shortcut, but to be fair, all the way overtakes were taken from off-track riders. Absolutely unbelievable. We've got Jordi Torres, the former MotoE World Champion, right in front of us. We've got Ferrari, another former champion, leading the way. So we have got pretty stacked grid, like we said earlier on in the video. But it looks like we're finally on the back and maybe get involved here. Zanoni once again wide out of the Strubben. But you can see they just get so much more drive compared to me out the corner. Seems like the AI in this class just have more power. Because I'm in power mode 3. I know I've got traction control on 5 before anyone says anything. But if you turn it down, the bike just tries to throw you off all the time. You don't get any more drive. I have played around with it. I did have a go. And here we go. We're on the back of Torres now. Can we try to get on the inside of Jordi into the second valve? Not quite. Somebody in front's gone wide, though. I think that's... to be honest, I'm not exactly sure who it is from this distance. It is difficult to tell. Like I said, I have seen some of the MotoE races this year, but I'm not sure of everyone's delivery from a far distance. Talk about a rider about 2 or 3 in front, so I can't really tell who it is. I think it might be our teammate, but I'm not exactly sure it is. Might be Luca Salvadori, if I'm not mistaken. But Zanoni is looking pretty desperate to get past him. And somehow we're still just sticking in here as we're about to come towards the end of this lap and start the last lap. You can see Torres has got terrible drive. Side by side with Jordi Torres. Up the inside we go to turn 14. Torres tries to hang it around the outside to the second valve. It was Luca Salvadori. I was correct. As we go down towards the Timber chicane, we're going to hit the brakes a bit earlier this lap. Make sure we don't go in super hot. The rear's gone though, and again we're going to go across the chicane because we've got a bit of contact from behind. Akubo made a big mistake, but again, no warning whatsoever. So it seems like the track limits here are completely broken because they're definitely set to strict. I definitely put them on strict. But there we got the inside of Hikari Akubo into turn 1. So now up into P12, although to be fair, most of our passes haven't made it that last chicane, and we have gone through that chicane 2 times in a row now. So really, we'd probably have 2 long lap penalties if it was real life. But we're trying to get the inside here of Zanoni. We're not going to quite be able to do it, but can we get the switch back into the Strubman? Yes, we can. Up the inside of Zanoni on the power. Come on, I surely should outdrive him, but he still outdrives me. The AI have some massive advantage compared to the player. Try and duck into his slipstream, see if we can pass him into the fast right-hander. In fact, we passed him before we even got there. So up into P11 now. Our teammate just ahead of us, and then it is Randy Krummenacker ahead of him. So into the bulk, we're pushing this bike. Now the bike is actually coming alive a little bit more, and we've got the run. Thinking about a move there on Luca Salvadori, but not quite. Again, another rider in front goes wide. I think that might be Granado, right in the lead pack, right near the front. He's really wide. He's been hung out to dry because he was virtually in the lead. Actually, still third place apparently, but it looked like he's going to get mugged by more of them. But here we go. We've got the drive on Salvadori. Up the inside we go. Krummenacker's out wide as well. He comes back across us a little bit. A bit of contact with Randy Krummenacker. That's Salvadori to get the drive again. And we're stuck on the outside through the corner where we make a decent amount of time. And look at that pack in front. They're all a big clump together. We hit the brakes nice and early this time. Got to make sure we don't get hit. We did get hit a little bit there. One of them's gone through the off track. We had contact with him. I think it was Spinelli. And there we go. I think we've ended up in front of one of the LCR guys up in P6 at the line. What a chaotic race that was. We ended up getting up into 6th position, and to be fair, the most overtakes we made was when we actually did the chicane properly, so I don't feel too bad about doing it wrong, because we definitely cost ourselves a lot of time. But a very strange order. Granado ended up winning the race, so I think it was actually Mikel Pons that we saw wide before that got a bit mugged. I know it was one of the LCR bikes, but to be honest, I thought it was Granado, because I thought it was the guy from, like, 3rd place, but perhaps it was Mikel Pons in 4th, just behind, got ran wide a little bit, but we ended up beating him. Herrera actually got 5th place, which is a bit of a shock, to be honest, because usually Herrera struggles quite a bit in this class, so nice to see Miria up there quite a bit. But the top 4 are not too weird. You've got, obviously, Granado winning, like we said, Casadei 2nd, Matteo Ferrari in 3rd, and Mantavini in 4th position. But there you go then, that was the MotoE class. Had to turn the difficulty down quite a bit, but in the end, we actually had a very good race, so hopefully you guys did enjoy that one. They seem absolutely ridiculous, I can't lie. I mean, they're really fast, but also at the same time, they're just all over the place. We saw it at Silverstone as well, where they were sort of going off the track and things like that, but it seemed even worse here with obviously a slightly more narrow circuit than Silverstone, which is very wide, of course. But hopefully you did enjoy that one. Let me know what you think of the new update in the comments below. If you are new to the channel, please do like the video and subscribe. It really helps me out. And of course, you'll have some more MotoGP 23 game content in your subscription feed as well. But like I said, I hope you did enjoy that one. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you're all staying safe, and I shall see you in the next one.